It is Wednesday, April 29th, 2020. It's almost 10:30. Capricor Therapeutics was big. Right now, it's a high volume winner right now, and a gapper that showed up in my pre-market. I didn't trade it, but you can see it had a tremendous move here from 252 in the pre-market all the way up to 7 by the time what was it, 3 minutes? In 3 minutes, it went up from 2 to 7, and it was on news of some sort of drug for treating coronavirus patients. So obviously that gave it a big boost. You could see here yesterday it closed around 250 something, and boom. So if you got that in the pre-market, obviously you'd have to have just been just getting in right when you saw that burst. But it dropped below VWAP, then it gained VWAP again, and it had a pretty decent move up. You could have taken it from around 487 all the way up to about 560 something. Bounced off VWAP again, and now it's kind of moving. So it could continue up. I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. There's still shorts available, which is kind of shocking. Usually, a stock like this, shorts are just not available. So that I don't know if that's a sign that eventually this thing will start to fail as people start to try and sell it a little bit. But we'll see. I think if it kept VWAP so far, that's a good sign. But I did not trade that. I had a bad trade this morning in CCL. I tried to trade an opening range break, a 1 minute opening range break, and you can see I failed out. So here I got in at 1590, I think it was 1594, and immediately it dropped on me and went down to about 1580, and I got out. That was unfortunate because it was a stupid trade. I thought I could get in here on this 1 minute opening range break, but you can see there's still resistance above there from the pre-market. So that was dumb. And I mean, it wasn't much. If you look at this 15-minute candle chart, it wasn't that much higher than when I got in, but still, I set my stop above VWAP, which you can see it bounced off VWAP a little bit, poked through it, bounced up. But it's been kind of ugly. Now look at it. It kind of looks like it's going to go. But I was basically looking at it in the pre-market because it had volume and it had gapped up. And I thought it could run. It's just a stock like this, you kind of have to wait for it to show you confirmation that it's going to run like that. And now that it's starting to break above the pre-market, that could be a sign, or above the high of the day, that could be a sign it's going to go on a run. I wouldn't touch it right now. So I lost out on that one, but then I took MU, and that was a really nice trade. So I'll just put my notes in here. I'm going to get rid of those. So here I got in. I got in because you can see in the pre-market popped a little a couple minutes before the open, dropped below, but you can see it was hanging around VWAP, and then it busted through VWAP again. A lot of volume here on this big green bar, and then even more volume on this bar. So when I saw the volume was increasing and it was breaking the high of the day, that 5 minute opening range break, I got in and I took it at 46.97 before the whole number. It moved up nicely, and I got out half my shares at my 2R. So at 47.21, I exited about half my shares. Regressed a little, but what I did here and what I've been doing now, just to basically train myself not to get out of a trade too early. I used to just basically take most of my shares out at my 2R, but you can't unless you're successful like 60, 50, 70% of the time. You're not going to be making a tremendous profit just getting out at your 2R all your shares if you're risking a 2 to 1. So that just, it's not a good strategy. So I'm trying to train myself to just take a little bit out, or in this case I took half out, and then hold on to a chunk for a much bigger run. And that's what I did here. So it faded a little bit, but I put my stop. As soon as I took some out of my 2R, I put my stop at my break even. Luckily, it didn't touch that. It kept moving up. And then once it got up to above my 4R, I exited the rest of my shares. Now, maybe I should have hung on to a little bit of them. This is another thing I'm still working on, is training myself to hang on for even bigger runs. I could have taken out just half of my remaining shares. It just, I'm looking at my P&L, and I had a loss earlier in the day, and I wanted to stay green. So I took everything out and just to ensure that I was, green on the day. But it still would have happened if it had come back and I exited back at my 2R. I still would have been green on the day. So I need to start teaching myself to take, to partial out just a little bit at a time and hang on for a big runner, because you can see now it's all the way up to the high of the day is 48.06. I got in at 46.90 something. So I mean, it was over $1 from where I got in. If I had just hung on to half, if I took this and just didn't exit and just hung on to it until it got up to $1, I would have made my week. But unfortunately, I took it out at 50 cents above where I got in, and I shouldn't say unfortunately, it's still a good trade. It's just I need to learn to make these trades better, and I'm slowly doing that. Unfortunately, I start to kind of look at what I've done earlier in the day, and I made a mistake on that CCL trade, and you just want to correct it as quickly as possible. But hanging on for the bigger runs is a much better strategy. So, still a good trade. Wish I had hung on for a little, but that's, you can't do anything. Also had a swing trade. So, Matador is a oil company, and oil companies have been booming now because of the big drop they had. Now, the reason I got into this was, so I actually got in some shares at 438, right at around here on the 23rd, 438, and then when it dropped here, I had this little bottoming tail in the day because I only got in a few shares here. I told myself I keep adding in because it's in an upwards trend. So if it keeps doing this little bounce movement, I'll just keep adding in on the bounces, on the pullbacks. And I added in a little bit more, so my average was around what was my average entry? I think my average was 428. And then you could see yesterday, really nice solid green candle, no wicks at all, and then it just gapped up. And you can see why I like this. Look at this gap here from the bottom of this candle. All of this is area that can totally, no resistance in this area. I mean, you have to go back several years really to see that resistance. So I got in thinking if I can ride it up through this gap, I'd have a nice little move. So right now it's at 577. I got in, my average is 428. So it's well over $1 of where I got in. So I could exit some shares right now, but I'm going to hold on. I think it could reach the bottom of this candle. And when it does, I'll probably lock in some profit, and then see if it can make another move back up, because you can see before the pandemic, it was actually moving up and then big drop. So we'll see. But this is a nice swing trade I had, and I'm hoping to see it move up a little bit more the rest of the day. It's got a lot of room to run here. You just love this. I love this daily chart pattern. So that's my swing trade right now, and MU is a winner, but I lost out with CCL. Still green on the day, and then that Capricor or whatever it was, Capricor, yeah, Therapeutics is still kind of hanging in there. So one to keep an eye on. Hopefully be back later in the week with some more trades.